Hi, Carol here. A hearty warm welcome to my craft room today. Well, it's Saturday afternoon, just heading on noon, and I thought I'm not coughing as much, so I'm going to get this tutorial up because it's our fourth giveaway Christmas card. So here I need to emboss 8 umbrellas. And here I double embossed that last one because I didn't see it. That's why it's kind of good to stamp that verse mark and then put your powder on so that you're not doing this and going over top of them. And don't even ask me why I'm actually wasting embossing powder on it. But anyway, I must have had a plan, but I don't know exactly what it was. I'm going to fussy cut around all 8 images so that they're nice and right to the line, actually. And this is MFT's double stitched rectangle die. So many possibilities with this set. I absolutely love it. So I'm going to cut out 14 of these, yes, because I had a plan in my head, and at the end I didn't go with it completely. And you'll see why later. Each panel of this opening 3-tier card are different sizes as well. And as I'm going, I'm just figuring it out on the way. Now this piece I cut as 2 1/4 by 10 1/2, but you are going to need it longer than 10 1/2 inches long. And together I'll show you why that is later. So anyway, this tutorial is edited down from 22 hours of actual work hours, and then I brought it down to under an hour and 40 minutes. I apologize greatly for the amount of time, but to fit everything in, I really did need to keep it this long. I could have kept it longer and slowed processes down because we're doing a lot here. A lot of coloring, a lot of figuring, just a whole lot of card, yes. And but I think you'd really enjoy putting this card together yourself, especially, and you don't need to have double stitched rectangle dies. You could just use rectangle plain dies. You'll see that as well, but I wanted to go the extra mile because it's a giveaway card. And so here you just cut them out, and we're going to go from there. Now, as I was figuring this out, I wanted to have what you call an interactive flip card. I don't think that's what they call it originally, because when I put these elements on there, I wanted to pull down on it, and then I've seen videos on YouTube where you pull it down and each of them flips and goes underneath one another. So each one would go underneath, kind of hidden. But I didn't want that element to be like that. I wanted to be able to push on it instead, like pull it, instead of push. You know the doors where you think it says push and then you pull and you knock yourself out? I do it all the time. What's a push? What's a pull? I don't get it. Well, it was that way with this card, let me tell you. But it turned out really over the top for me. I really did like it in the end. So here's a penny black Christmas set, and all I wanted was this one little stamp with a light on it, you know, Christmas lights, and an individual Christmas light. And then I stamped it all over the outside of, let me see, I think it was 4. I did 4 of these eventually, but I'll show you 2 of them. I was going to do one of these flip style interaction elements on one side of the card and the same on the other, but then I changed it around midstream. But I did use all of the colored elements that I put on here. So I decided to go mauve with the lights here, and I did it with Versamark and then with gold embossing powder. I just took a little bit, went outside the line there with my 0 Copic marker, and these are all with the Copics. Now I didn't put down the actual numbers, but if I use mauve, I generally do 2 shades of mauve, like a dark and a light, and then I use a blue and pink. So you'll probably see that there's the blue coming up right here. And you don't have a lot of work area, so to put all of this coloring in would be, you know, it wouldn't be good for you. I enjoyed doing it, but that's like watching paint dry, right? So as I'm doing the actual wire lines on here, I'll share with you some of the colors that I use. And I pretty well, if I'm doing anything in the violets, the mauve colors, I generally stick to the blue violet, the blues. I add some yellow, and I'm going to mention what I start out with. So this is the BV quadruple 0, 4 zeros, BV11. That's nice to jump up there. And then I'll do the BV20, the BV23, and the V, so go right to the violet 1-5, and then I'll go to the lighter blue, which is the 3 zeros. Then I jump to a blue-green 0-2, and then a blue 9-1, and that will give you a beautiful color combination for your violets. And then the Y18 is just a yellow tinge with that light glow that you get when you turn on lights. I added that to the middle, just a little tick of the 1-8, the Y18, to give it that tiny bit of glow. Even though you're using violets and blue violet, it looks very pretty. And then why not throw some violet nail polish on? Yeah, with some glitter on your pinky. That's just the ultimate when you're doing this, right? I had no idea. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I'm doing the edit, because this card was actually, oh, there's the Y18. This card was done a while ago, but because of coughing so much with this flu bug, I couldn't edit it. So anyway, here I grabbed the Signo white pen just to add a little bit of touch of that whoops, sorry, I just had an email come in. It's so that it gives you the little curve to the glass element of the bulb, the Christmas bulb. And I thought that looked kind of nice. And then beside that, go in with a dark blue violet just beside it, and it will add a little bit of something. Then we'll go back to the Copic. I think it's a 0.3 that I use. Just a fine pen that works with your Copics. And here I'm just going to thicken it up, add the little wee connector in the black, and we're off, just completing 2 of 8 of these elements. And I really do think if you make a card similar to this, you're going to love to have these stitched rectangle dies. And I'm also making, you know, a little wee swirl in the cord, you know, like my cords always get all messed up, tied in knots and swirls. Why not? Let's just add it in there, right? Let's make this as real as possible. Yeah, if I was to make it as real as possible when I put lights together or whatever, some of them wouldn't work, so I wouldn't even color them in. Yes, but we don't want to get that real, do we? Let's just keep it like this. Now, there's quite a bit of Copic coloring throughout this card, and I decided to fast forward it on a majority of the coloring, but I kept one of them in, and that's the monkey. When I did these giraffes, I did 3 browns, a yellow, and an orange, and kept it quite simple for this little guy. He's so easy to color. And what's nice about this is you can go over the lines in the giraffe and it still adds to the actual coloring. Now here's my gray monkey right here, and you can kind of see what avenue we're going on. So I kept in the brown. I did one monkey gray, and this little goober, we're going to do him in brown. This is the 110-pound Recollection cream color cardstock that we're going with for all of these giveaway Christmas cards. I think it looks so nice to do coloring with your Copics on this kind of paper. It works very well. It gives it a really nice saturation, absorbs the Copic colors nicely, you know, and I really liked it. So here I'm just doing my mid-tone, and you'll see as I go through here, I use quite a bit of Copic coloring colors, just with the different colors. And here I'm going underneath where I would think the sun is not going to hit it, and then I'll do the darker brown tones. And I'll just keep going like this until I get the right colors as I'm going over top. I did a little darker brown underneath the chin and on the tail, and it's not really that important to the actual card itself, because there's so many things going on. You're not going to stop and really examine each of these animals, you know. But I did want to keep this one in just to show you that it is so easy to use browns, mid-tones, earth tones. This is a caramel that I bring in here. And you can push back your darker colors with a lighter color Copic, which is nice. You don't need to use the zero marker at all. Now, and then if you want to draw out where you want your light tones, just push it back like I did here with the belly, and I just used a lighter color, made a circle, kept going around until it pushed it back to where I wanted it. And now we're going to do the face in more of an earth tone, kind of a peachy color. And this I sped up 8 times, so it has quite, you know, it's moving at quite a fast pace. Really, yeah, you can tell by me jiggling my fingers around. I don't color like that generally. Yes. So anyway, and then I just kind of look at it, and I like to add a little bit of violet in with my browns. Oh, it got serious here. I took my glasses off. Maybe I'm going to color with them off. Just kidding. Just kidding. I don't know why I took my glasses off. I don't know. But I did because I'm doing the editing and I'm looking at it here. So I thought, okay, we need to darken up these brown areas with a nice deep brown. That chocolate brown looks nice, you know, in between the eyes there. And yeah, I'm still trying to figure out why. Maybe I need to rub my eyes a little bit. You know, yeah, tapping on my nails. Okay, where do I want to go from here? And I really liked this little monkey when I was finished, because I'm going to add orange. Like each of these cards, they're going to have a burst of color coming from the animal out towards the outside of the actual rectangle, and you'll understand it when I get finished. So I don't want to make him that dark, because I will have a deep orange color towards his body. But I do want him to stand off the page, and I'm able to do this. Now, we're going to bounce back to this nice sherbet orange color. And see how I'm going right over top of the colors here? Because I can come back then and add a little bit more of a rich color. Here I go. And I can see where the round belly, where I pushed it back in. And another thing about pushing color back is you end up with the center not being stark white, if that makes sense. I like that. I always like to push color with a lighter color and not the zero. Because I'm going to have not only the 2 colored monkeys, but we're going to have one of the crazy birds on the front of one of these flip interaction cards, and triangles. And now I'm going to go over the whole thing, as you can see, with kind of like a peach color, so that I can make some vivid colors come alive. I'll take my 0.03 Copic multi-liner, and I'm going to go over and really pronounce the stamp. because of the coloring. It kind of got away from me, so I just go over the edges. And I did stamp this with Versamark and gold embossing powder, as you can see in there. And then I'm going to make the eyes just a little pink and that sherbet orange color on there. And then I'm going to take out my multi-liner, the actual, there's the gray, isn't he cute? And then we're going to make these umbrellas. So in that gray little guy, I cut his tail out to slide the umbrella behind it, and I cut his hand there so that I could put the umbrella handle. So there's quite a bit of little detail to this card, but as you know, I love details. And you can see I did the bell stamp. I had a little bell stamp that I did the triangle on the other monkey. And then we're going to go orange all the way around. So one monkey will have the umbrella at the top, and then we'll switch it around and we'll do the umbrella with him sitting inside. So one will have him dangling, hanging in the air, and both of them I will use my multi-liner to outline them, just to make them look a tad more vivid. And then I will match the umbrellas to the color that I do that sunburst look on the monkey, like in the background. And I like to do this without using my word is compressor. I'm stopping and starting. Here's all the brown tones and pink and orange I used on the brown monkey. I'm just quickly showing that. When I get to the end, I'll backtrack on the edit and put the colors in like I did with the other lights there. So here we're going to start in on the inside with a darker tone. So it will be this beautiful orange sherbet color. I love the look of this next to the monkey. Because we did his belly and legs with a similar lighter tone, I think it really stands out. Now I did speed this up quite a bit on this, or really I had to go back and speed it up because it was taking up so much time. It was over the 2-hour mark, and I know it is difficult for people to hang in on such a long video tutorial. So I did push it quite a bit. You know, tried to get as many elements as I could in here for you. And now I want to show you how I take a lighter tone and I am going and pushing the darker tone toward the monkey. So, and then you'll do a blend. You'll actually blend it all out at the end. But you can see as we're going in how I am pushing it towards the monkey, not away from the monkey. And then right here, it's such a relaxing time. Like I'm looking at my own edit here. And when you're going around the outside, you can go in any direction because we're going to use a cotton towel that has a lot of fiber in it, and we're going to use the Copic solution. So you're not going to see any of these lines. So I'm keeping that in mind as I'm doing this starburst. That's the method I call it. It's called, I was trying to figure out what I would call this, you know, where you start by the monkey and then you push your way out, and starburst came to mind. So that's what we'll be doing. And then we're going to get a little piece of fiber cloth and just cut a little square off an old rag that you have, but you want your cotton fibers to be just a little long. This way, when you dip down into your Copic blending solution, the fibers will stand out. They won't be flat. And you know, as I'm looking at the edit here, I really do like the look, whether I did that extra technique or not. I think this looks like a nice sunburst. Love the brown and the orange. Love the way the tummy just comes alive with this kind of like a fire look. And I'll try to get, yeah, let's clean that up, which I don't have to worry because it's not a clean and simple card. I am going to back all of these flip portions. So here I'm taking even a lighter color of the sherbet orange. That's what I'm calling it. But I'm going so fast in the edit, I can't even tell you what color it was. But trust you me, I will try to get the tones of this because and there's a caramel. This is the gold caramel look. And now I will do the flicking technique. I will take it and then I will flick it out. And so you can see those lines a little bit when we do use the fiber. And now I'm trying to figure out, I did on the, yeah, this is more towards the brown caramel tones now. I'm going to really deepen it towards the monkey to get the brown look. But always remembering we're going to use Copic solution and the cotton fiber material to pounce on this technique. So anyway, some more yellow in here. I did, let me see, I think I did 8 different stamps on the stitched rectangle die to go around here. I did stars, I did bells, I did the actual light bulbs, and here you have it. Now I'm squirting some of the blending solution on this fiber cloth from a towel. Cover your monkey, as you don't have to do like a mask, just cover it enough so that the solution doesn't hit the colors that you colored him in. And look at that. This makes a beautiful background for water. It makes a beautiful background for fire elements if you want it to look like that. For snow, so many different things. I'm trying to choose here if I'm going to use the bells or the stars, and I chose I think I chose the bells so that I could color the inside of the bell with this gorgeous, gorgeous color. Now I'm taking out a mid-tone, a dark tone, and a light tone here, and I'm going over it, and I call this my sherbet combination. I'll make sure to leave it. Sherbet, make sure to leave it. Yes, I will get through this tutorial. Trust you me. I'm in 22 minutes of an hour and 37 minute tutorial. I wanted to mention that it also makes a nice texture for marbleizing anything. If you want it to have that marble look without having to use crackle paste, just get your towel with a long fiber on it, cotton fiber, and pounce it in like this. Isn't it pretty? And it does help, especially if you go out of the lines on any images. You don't have to worry when you do this. Even if you mess up a bit on your backgrounds, just grab your little towel and your blending solution and squirt it on and pounce it down. It really is a pretty look in the real life thing. Look at that. And then match it up with the umbrella. I'm going to go over the bottoms, and then I'm going to use my shine there. Shine there. I couldn't come up with the glossy accents. Or you can use the Irresistible Pico Embellisher in clear. That's just a milder version of the glossy accents. Nouveau Crystal Glaze is the same as the Pico Embellisher, the Irresistible Pico Embellisher. I'll try to remember these on my blog to list them, so you can just press it and it'll take you right over to the actual product. We are going to cut out a few more animals as well to add to this card, but for now I'm going to take you through the 4 flip ones. And here's that little giraffe. I'm going to use the enamel accents in black. I love this for doing eyes. It really, you can make them so tiny. Now here's an elephant that I did, and I'm sorry I did not get it on camera with a little lion with the elephant. So I decided to switch up, and we will do that in another version. But right now, don't you love this mini cat and bird set from Tim Holtz? I love it because they're colored on the acetate here for you. So you can just take it, and this is the actual size of the stamps. So you can play with it on your cardstock to see how much space they will take. I think it's fabulous. So what I did here, I picked out the bird I wanted. I stamped it with my Versamark and my Recollections turquoise blue embossing powder. Then I could take my little multi-Copic 0.3 marker and I just traced out all the lines that were in the actual stamp, and you can see that from off the acetate. And you don't have to color it the same colors as the acetate shows, but it sure does set you on your way for picking colors, which is really nice. So I grabbed my Y32 in the yellow, and it's a nice dull yellow, which I like. And then I added the blue, always looking at the little bird to my left. I think it's fabulous. Like I said before, fabulous. Fabulous, darling. And then my B91, and that's also more of a dull blue. Nothing vibrant going on there. Took my Copic liner and outlined the eyes. And I will add some of the detailed black enamel accents onto those later. This is the Pico embellisher, like the glossy accents, like I said before, but much more liquid, and the drying time is next to nil. And then actually I took some pink, some turquoise, and I'm going to match up the umbrella. Now we're going to add the light color, which is a G4 zeros after it. I think it's called Crystal Opal or Crystal Clear. The opal sounds familiar to me here. And then from the bottom up, we will use the blue that we used for the other color on the bird tail there. And then we'll match them as we're doing the sunburst. So we'll start out, and I know it's going quite fast, but this just brings alive the colors that you put in to your bird. So you have the opal green color, then you have the turquoise blue, then I think I add some pink. Yeah, here comes the pink. And then the pink is also in the bird, so you can bring that out. And remember, we're going to use our towel fibers. And then we're going to match it up in the umbrella, so you have two actual images that you get to play with the colors. Here I'm just showing you I used Psalm stamp set that I had to put some scripture verse in there, as well as the bells and the lights. And I'll see later on there what other ones I used. And I stamped out, here's the little elephant and the lion in a basket. I love this set. And I thought with the flying theme of having, I'm going to use butterflies, I'm going to use the basket with the air balloon, and then we're going to use balloons as well. Here's the BV20 with the grays. This is kind of nice. It's a lavender, dull lavender in the blue violet. And we'll add that to our gray tones, and it really does bring it alive. And then if you see any lines in your work, just get that towel with the fibers with your Copic solution, press it down, takes it right out. And I zoomed in on this because I'm going to show you, just take 3 shades, light, dark, and mid-tone, and work the grays in there. And then we'll add some blue. I'm pushing it back with the light blue here, as you can see. I'm just making a circle around the face. I'm going to add the pink in the ears, and I want to take the center, kind of the knuckle portion of this little elephant's legs, and then we will darken it up. So whatever I want to, if I go too dark, I push it out with a lighter color. And here I'm going in with the T3, and that's a nice gray as well, the toner gray. I'm trying to read it here, isn't that tiny? But it did look nice. You have your cool grays, you have your darker grays towards the blue, all different grays in the Copics. And here we're going almost to the black. I'm going to outline the trunk and the little nails, or I'll call them fingers, his little fingers. And we're going to do those in a dark shade, and it will help us to know what kind of grays we're going to work with on this little one. And I even went over to the N7. Isn't that awesome? Like, these grays are beautiful in the Copics. I love them because they're all in a different shade. So, and you can mix them up. You don't have to stay with it, you Look at that, how I'm taking it out with a lighter color. I love to use the blue. I don't know, I'm going too fast here, but that was a blue. A blue will tone down your darker grays. Then I'm putting the little teensy little enamel accent eyes on. Look how small you can get that. Yes, it's beauteous. And now I'll outline all of the stamped image with my point. It's 0.03 in the Copic Multiliner pen. I'll go around the little feet. There's all of the colors there. What's very nice about the grays, when you're working with the teas, the toner grays, they have more of a brown tone to them, as the warms have more of a blue. So it will help you. Like the teas look nice because we're going to do the basket in the browns. So when we take the gray color and you work in the teas, like the T034, whatever you're using, you are actually putting in a brown toner in your gray. So that's why it says T. But if you're working with the W, the warm tones, the warm tones, you're working more with the blues. So that looks nice. Here they are here. And I'll just show you what the difference is between the two. And if you'd like me to do a tutorial on the Copics there, I have an old one up that I'll put up there just explaining that. But if you'd like to know more about the grays, now here's the difference between the neutrals and the browns. When we get finished, I put them side by side so you could see the difference in the blues, the neutrals opposed to the teas, which are more of a brown. And that just means the tea, the tone of it is more going towards the brown side as opposed to the blue when you work with your neutral grays or your warm grays. They each have their own element of surprise, which is very nice when you're adding color beside it. So now we'll move on to the little lion. There's not much color I can put up other than the Y35. I'm going towards the more mustard color in the yellow, and then I'll go to more of a soft yellow, and then I'll push it back with the browns, the elements of brown that I'm going to use the same colors in the basket as I will the little lioness or lion. And so cute. When I don't work with many animal stamps, it's a lot of fun to do that. Here I'm using my Copic Multiliner to put the mouth in and the nose. I'm thickening it up, and I'm going to show you something that is really nice to do if you want to get some a dimension. I love to work with dimension. And I also added the little eyes with the enamel accents. I'm using the Pico embellisher here just to lift up the ears and the little paws, and the two ropes that are going to lift that hot air, hold the hot air balloon. But that's another thing. What I want yeah, it's another day. Yeah. And so what I want to show you here is when I put the Pico embellisher on the nose, some of it had leaked out. So I grabbed my towel, and then all of a sudden I thought, you know what? I'm going to use my pokey tool while it's wet, and I am going to poke that paper. I'm going to lift that paper and make it look almost scratchy. And that will give me the detailed look I want for the fur on this animal, and all the way around the nose and above the mouth. In real life, when you pick that fiber, just keep picking it and let it stand up, it does look like a fur. It's little things like that, when those little mistakes, the happy accidents happen, that you really do come up with a real sweet technique or idea that works together with what you have on hand. And in this case, it was the picking the pokey tool through the paper and giving it that rugged look around the snout of the little lion. It's so cute. And now I'm going to use just brown tones, orange tones, the lighter colors in the basket, the darker shades in the basket, and almost with the neutral grays as well mixed in there. Really does bring it alive, and it separates itself from the lion in a sense because we are working with the same colors. So that's why I took the dark brown here and added it around the basket weaving. I added some lines to go the opposite direction than the paws and the face. And then I'm going to come in, my lights were, I turned one off so you could see the richness, and I'm only going to put the picot embellisher on the line portion, and I'll leave the flat lighter colors without any gloss to them. And then when I turn the lights down, you'll see when I show you all of the gloss with the picot embellisher how cute it looks. And whatever you want to stand out, there you go. Isn't that cute? I just love this look, and it gives you stability with the cardstock as well. And now we'll move along to the hot air balloon. The hot air balloon, once I cut around it, I put a gold edge with the Versamark and then dipped it in the gold embossing powder just to kind of give it that gold matching effect that we have with the animals, because all of the animals were stamped with Versamark, and then I added the gold feature. Even with the lights were the same way. So to get some dimension on this balloon, you want to just do the flicking technique towards the center on each side. And then when I work with the turquoise colors here, you can go from light to dark. Darker meaning it would be more on the edges. And here I'm just showing you the elements that we used on the basket. I put all of the Copic colors of the basket right here, and I mentioned it just a little bit ago above the coloring. And now for the hot air balloon, I wanted to get that curvature in the balloon in the center. So for that, not only am I going to put the turquoise, but I will add some pink and some yellow, and then I'll darken the yellow up in the actual ribbons that it looks like there. And then I'm going to use the flicking technique right to the edges, and then I'll once again darken it up with that flicking technique, as you can see here, just leaving the space in the center a little visible and lighter. Then I'll add my Signo white pen, add some dots to I stopped right there. Isn't that funny? I stopped there because I realized, you know what? I am going to use my Jelly Roll clear glitter pen. I thought it would look nice in the center. Cover those dots up, and then I'll put the polka dots on the outer edges. I added to the bottom as well just a little bit of the gold, which will tie in the Versamark and the gold embossing powder around the edge. It's just those crazy little detail things I like to do. Then I went back and I added some very light pink to draw your eye to the center instead of leaving it white. And then when you put on the Irresistible Picot Embellisher in the clear, when this dries, it gives you that extra element. The pokey tool, I was just taking a few little bubbles out. Here I've set it up for you just so you can see it. And all of these colors that I have on the Copics are at the beginning of the balloon there. I went back and added them. And now the little bunny has some warm grays. Then I'm going to put the Picot Embellisher, and I'm going to just circle it and circle it so I get a little bit of texture when it dries. And I do add a lot of bubbles inside of it. It kind of makes it look like rabbit fur in a way. And now we're going to move on to the applique, the snow applique on our little lamb. I put little dots of it so that when I heat set it like this, isn't that cute? You have thick and thin, and it just bubbles up wonderfully. Then we're going to add our little eye with the Copic multiliner and some Picot Irresistible, kind of like glossy accents. I've used it all the way up to now. I like it because it dries so quickly. And here you have it. We have the elements that we're going to put together for our middle portion of the Christmas card. And this is going to be the flip up, the push and the pull thing. This is going to be the pull, yes. And now we have the giraffe, the little lamb, and the rabbit was set aside. And now we have to put the handles on all the umbrellas. And after we add the handles and things, and we kind of get cleaned up and organized here, I need to add the backing to all of it. You want the back to look nice and clean. So I cut out the rectangles and kept the gut parts in, so that if I make a shaker, we're going to have two shaker elements, one in the pull-up and one in the startup, meaning at the beginning of our card tutorial. It's 3 cards in one, actually 3 pages in one. I'm not going to use the fence, but I am going to use these boggles as balloons. So let's begin whatever cutting necessary. I want the umbrella to seat on the bottom of this monkey. The gray monkey, we put the umbrella at the top, and this one we're going to put at the bottom. So I want his little feet cut out, and then don't forget, whatever you cut, you color. That's what I keep in mind. You cut it, you color it. So I'm getting down inside with this deep gold color Copic, and his one leg, let's see, I'm just watching it along with you. And so I'm going to cut both legs here, keep them attached, of course. Now, once we figure out what we're going to use as the handles, and I took sentiments that I had, like that thank you that you see on the top, all kinds of flourish sentiments that you have, you can use that for other projects like this. So I have a handle for this umbrella, and I just think they're so crazy cute. Look at that. And now this umbrella will be on the bottom, and I will cut another portion of this sentiment die that says thanks, and I took the T out of that, and that will be, I'll put it under the trunk, I think, on this one, and under his head. Yeah. So I'm going to cut that and slide it up through, like put it behind there. And I love this Fiskars handheld cutter. I've had it since I began stamping or creating 5 years ago, making cards, and it has lasted me that long. It's wonderful. Now we're going to cut the wing out of our little crazy bird, and I love the way she's looking up into the umbrella. Is that not cute? And then I'm going to once again use the flourish and cut out the sentiment stamp and cut out a flourish. Look at that, right under her wing, and then put the umbrella tilted in the opposite direction as the other card that's going to be at the forefront there, this one with the gray monkey. I just think it's so crazy cute. Now we need to have all of the backs on here so that they're nice and even, and when you pull them up and they all flip, they're going to all match and be nice and clean on the opposite side. It doesn't matter that the umbrellas hang over just a bit because you have that 1/4 inch to work with. I'm just going to zoom it in here so you can see how nice and clean this element looks. It's like making little pictures. I think I said that before, but as I'm editing, I started this edit at 12 o'clock and it's now 10 to 7, and I'm still going strong. And I'm trying to use products in my craft room, and this is one of them. It's double-sided squares. It's just, they're so crazy sticky. I got them at the stationery store. And then I will add some liquid adhesive to make sure, you know, when you're pushing and pulling, that it doesn't come off. So it's just a little precaution. I'll use the Pico Embellisher on a few of the elements, like the, I think I already put some on the elephant and lion, so I'll leave it aside there. And now I have the scripture verse around here, the psalm, and I have the stars, and then I have the little Christmas lights. The scripture stamps that I have, I put down Psalm 136:26. Oh, give thanks unto the God of heaven, for his mercy endureth forever. And I put that on one of the frames, actually two that I'm using, two of the frames. And now I am scoring. I scored, this is 2¼ inches wide. I put a score mark at the 2-inch mark, and then I did 1¼ oh hello 1¼ inches 4 times. So I scored down 1¼ then 2½, and then 3¾ and then 4, and then I flipped it over. So each of these tabs is 1¼ inches deep. How's that? And then I'm going to put what order I want them in. So I'm going to do the umbrella at the top, on the bottom, on the top, on the bottom. We're going to score it with a 1/4 inch score tape, and then I'm going to put it at the top of each score mark. So I worked my way from the bottom up like this. So I'm putting score tape on the top of the little frame, putting at the top of the score mark, which is at 1¼ and then we're just going to work our way up with the umbrellas going in opposite directions, top, bottom, top, bottom. There you have it. And it is a flip up card. So when you grab the bottom, it's going to flip up. And all of the backs, as you see, are nice and clean. If you see them flip, if you are still with me, thank you ever so much. It's now 7:15 and we're moving right along. Look at that. I just love the way you flip it up. But there's no way designing it the way I designed it, that's going to flip under. So I have to design something here that will allow it to be in the center. And then when you open up, I didn't want to have all the measurements the same. It would be gargantuous. I mean, the card is big enough in itself, but here's the center, okay? This is how I'm trying to measure it off. So if this was in the center, when I flip it, how am I going to do this without it being like totally out of alignment? And serious, I even went sideways. This is the key. I have not found one like this to get any measurements from, but the concept is there. Of course, it's a flip card, but I had to discover for myself how I was going to measure it and how I was going to put it in the middle so that when you flipped it up, it didn't look really out of place, if I can say it that way, out of place. So here you have it. I thought, okay, it's going to be like a book. And I wanted to have a floating on the front page in my mind. I wanted to have a floating element on the front page so it looked like it was just floating out there. Remember I did a video on a floating sentiment? Well, this is going to be a floating shaker card. So you're wondering, okay, how is it's not going to be seated on the paper, it's going to be seated on acetate. And that was the key to the first page. Each page is going to be 8 inches long, like in length. So we're going to measure across 8 inches. The first page will be 6 inches across, but then we need to make a cut into it so that my 2 inches of that little frame will seat in, and then it'll give me another 1¼ inch sticking out. So in reality, it will be 6 inches plus 1 more inch is 7, and then 1/4. So, oh, excuse me, I'm measuring here. I'm sorry. I just lost my train of thought. I'm trying to tell you the measurements, and then my little puppy dog comes walking across. All right, let's start over. So it's 8 inches long by 6. So I'm scoring it at 1/4 inch, then I'm adding 1/8 inch as a gusset. You know, I always put little small gusset marks in there just for adding elements. You want a little bit of extra depth. So let's show you this way, okay? We'll start over. So it's 6 inches across, 8 inches down. That's the front page before I put the floating element in. Now, I want this floating element to be a shaker. So we need to make that shaker element. So I'm going to glue just the bottom on this frame, the little balloon element. The basket is going to have a little bit of glue on the bottom. Then I'm going to put double-sided tape on here for my acetate. Then we're going to cut out a piece that's exactly the measurement for the back. You know, with a pinch here or there, just like you're doing a recipe. Add a little bit, as long as it's not sticking out and it's cut, you know, well enough to give you that for your shaker card. Well, what we're doing here now is the shaker element. I've got my acetate on the back right now. I've taken the double-sided tape off, and then I'm going to get my shaker bits, will be gold, which will be gold stars. But then as I was looking, I thought, you know what? I want to put one of those boing boing things on there. I have these miniature ones, you know, the ones right there, these little, oh, I'm going so fast. I can't even think of who makes these. Just a minute. Okay, I'm back. Art Impression Wobbles. Yes. Oh my, I am so thankful you are sticking with me here. I'm going pretty fast. So I put one of those wobbly things on there so that it can boing boing around. And then I'm sticking my pokey tool in there to make sure that I tape down the 2 ropes that, you know, are holding the hot air balloon in place. And that's the fun of it. And then once we get that in there and I have the wobble seated, I love these miniature wobbles. They're so cute. And now I put another piece of acetate on the back side because we're going to put some star shaker bits. I have stars on the front of this frame, the beautiful stamp with the stars. And now I'm going to put double-sided tape on here to put my acetate on there. And once we get that, we're going to build it up. Now I need to put some powder in there so that my little stars won't stick to the sides of the, right there. I actually took the lid off because it has a little hole in there. And if it gets damp or it gets stuck with something, it's not coming out as freely. So I just stuck my pokey tool down and put the lid back on the powder. And now I'm putting the double-sided tape for the lift up on my little shaker. And we're going to, yeah, put that all the way around. I'm just trying to see if I do it double or single. I think I left it just single. Yes, I didn't need to have it lifted really high. So let's take that tape off, put the little wobble on, but not before my little head on this lion has a wobble. If I'm going to have the hot air balloon wobble around, I thought that little lion should wobble his head. So I cut it off. I know, details, right? I can't help myself. So in order to have this little head wobble, I'm going to have to cut the actual wobble piece down, as far down as I could, to get it situated so you couldn't see it sticking out the sides of the little lion's head. But I did it and I got it on there, and now we're going to, after some time here, yeah, got to keep cutting, but once I get it, oh yes, it's so crazy cute. His little head's going and the hot air balloon is going. Oh yeah, I'm happy. This is just a happy element. And then I'm going to put once I get the star pieces in there, it really, you're not going to be drawn to, you know, a little minute thing sticking out. You can't see it there. I think maybe because I didn't put it there. Excuse me. I have to add a little glue dot to the back of the wobble because I wanted to make sure that nothing was going to release itself, right? And here's my little shaker bits I got at Michael's. You get 4 different styles in one shaker container. and these are the stars, and of course my gold element, you know, those gold stickers I buy. Well, I put it all the way around the edges so you couldn't see the double-sided tape. Isn't that perfect? I love these stickers for everything. I can find a way to use them anywhere. And I'm using my Nuvo glue right here to put it down, and it's the clear. It's kind of like glossy accents, and I'm putting it right over top so it seeps down in and it will hold this secure to the double-sided tape. Now this has to seat so it looks like it's floating. So let's distress all of the card stock that we're going to use for this tri-fold card, and I'm going to do all the edges. But now for the front of the card, I need to push it in an inch, and I need to put the acetate down so this has a place to seat itself. When you open it up, I don't want you to see cardstock on an inch of this. So I'm going to draw it out with a pencil. I'm going to freehand cut it for now. So it's going to seat on acetate, which I will put over the entire card base. So let's cut it out here, and then we can take it to the cutter, cutter, and cut it off so it's perfectly even. But right now I just need to have it cut so I can seat the acetate down. Now the measurements have to be spot on here because I had my panel measured wrong. I said it was 2 inches by 3 inches. It isn't. It is 2 3/4 inches by 4 inches long. So we're going to recess the panel in so it's 1.5 inches, which will leave me 1 1/4 inches sticking out with the floating element part. So that's the key. You want it to have that recess in it, and then you want it to look clear, see-through. And that's why I chose to do a shaker card on this, because you have acetate looking straight through. And it's kind of like that floating sentiment card I did way back when. And I will put that in the description so that if you're interested, you can take a look at a floating sentiment card that I did for Christmas. I'm not sure if it was last year or the year before. You know, time just seems to go by. Excuse me. So here I'm putting on my smallest amount of tape, which wouldn't matter for the acetate because I am going to cover it. But I put 1/16 of an inch double-sided tape all the way around, and then I just cut it freehand and then took it to my trimmer and trimmed it out so it had a nice trim on it. Now we're going to put the double-sided tape only on the recessed amount on the back of this, which is 1.5 inches. So right there, and then we're going to put another sheet of paper cut out on either side of this panel. Because it has the acetate on this side, we're going to have to cut another panel for that. But first of all, I want to have an inside panel to place our flip cards, flip panels I'll call them. And yeah, so I'm going to make that piece. It's going to be 4.5 inches for the middle portion, and then the outside, like the final card base, is going to be 4 3/4 inches by 8. So we'll cut down the 4.5 by 8 inches right here. Then I'm going to distress all the edges, and we've got the panel with the double-sided tape on all the panels, and we have a little gusset on them as well. So now I'm going to take the 2 little strips off this 1/4 inch and make sure you don't go over and touch the portion that has the gusset where we embossed that, and put that into place right there. And then we're going to have a nice piece to put our panel down in the middle. Now, excuse me, now we have our centerpiece secure. We have our outer piece with our gusset and our fold with our tape on it. We've already taped them down, so each side has a 1/8 of an inch gusset, and we're going to now figure out how to seat this pull tab of all 4 frames. So that's how it's going to go. The front piece we need to put on, and the weight of the shaker keeps this card closed flat. It's amazing. So take another sheet of paper and we're going to cut it down, and the nice thing about this, we can pencil guide it. Let's trace it out, and this is what's going to be on the inside panel to cover up the actual element of the acetate. And it's nice because you can take your trimmer. I always call this thing a cutter. Isn't that crazy? Well, it cuts, right? And it's going to be 8 inches long, and then we traced it out, and we'll cut it with the trimmer, and we'll just slide it. Now you're going to cut it just a tad smaller so that you have some extra space to put your tool in there to distress all of the edges. So you are going to lose some cardstock, so remember that when you're guiding the cutter, to guide it just a little smaller. I'd say 1/16 of an inch in total, so you have enough room to distress around it, and then you won't be able to see how we seat that on the acetate. Now we're heading to the part where we put it all together. I put double-sided tape all on the front side of the acetate, because this is where we put the floating element on here and cut it out. We have a matching piece right off to the left there that we're going to apply, and it's going to be a nice tight fit. We've distressed all around the edges of our cardstock. You're going to seat that down, and then we're going to take our distress tool, cut it off where necessary, and distress all the edges. And we're getting there. It's now 9 p.m. Yes, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel here. So I'm going to put double-sided tape all at one time. Yes, I'm learning. Instead of cutting it off, I just twist the corners. I'm going to seat that on the inside, so we have the lovely bells on the inside of the card, the nice stars on the outside. We have a nice 3-way flip to our card base, and now for the sticker corners. I love these elements. Purchase these stickers. They come with all different corners, which is beautiful. So I chose this. It kind of looks like an open flourish, and it has the bell. I don't know, just something really nice about this sticker. I just, you know, when I've got it sped up, it's kind of hard to show you, but I think there's 5 different corners to this set, and the stickers are only like $2.50 US a package, so you're going to get a lot of use out of those. And then I'm going to go around to the front and look at these reversed corners. Are they sweet or what? And once we get the front decorated, I'm going to show you why I put this element on where it had that little section in the corners. I'm going to place pearls in there. And here, this is why I bought these stickers right here for the lines. Look at that. It matches the stars perfectly. And then it evens up any little hint that it's not a perfect cut. If you have anything off, these line stickers will save the day. And then I put the Nouveau Glaze glue over top because it dries clear, and it will hold that down where the sticker does not come up. I'm giving you a real close view here. I took the boggles to this Christmas set, and using them as balloons, I put them too high. So, well, they're not too high. I always say that, don't I? I put them one on top of the other, and then I am going to pull back the camcorder, and we're going to decorate the corner like this. I love it. Just when you think you're finished, there's another side to the card, right? This is so cute. Look at that little giraffe, but he's not going there. Yeah, so once I get the balloons. 3 of them I actually did one on top of the other, and one I left flat. And here are these gorgeous little bee alphabet dies. They come in handy, and I wanted to put on here, I put actually Merry Christmas, but I'm thinking they're quite large, these letters. I think they're an inch, if I'm right, high. But what I'm doing here is I'm looking at the centerpiece where the actual waterfall card is going to be placed. There's that 2-inch fold. I don't mind the back because you know I'm going to put a piece over top of it. I'm checking out the letters to see, wow, Merry Christmas, that is going to be going to need a lot of space. When you lie this card flat, this is going to be the middle portion, but the back. So I made a panel, of course, to go over it so you don't see the fold that we had to apply. And you have that little bit of 1/16 of an inch gusset you see, but you can leave, you make sure you leave that open, right? Don't get your tape on that. It's kind of hard to see because it's white on like beige or linen or whatever you want to call this recollection cardstock. Cream, sorry. You can tell. Now remember, this edit started at noon today and it's now 9:16 and we're still doing it. We're rallying together, right? I wonder how many has left me. They just couldn't take it. an hour and a half video. Phew. Thank you so much if you stuck with me, even in segments, right? We can do it. I thought, look at that. Isn't that cute? But I didn't think that little gaffer could hold all of those balloons, so I thought a nice butterfly. Remember the gold butterfly we had left over from the bevel card? Yes. Now here come the pearls. Yeah, I'm down the finish line. I'm just going. And so we're in those holes on that... those boggles, I put the pearls. You can tell I'm still thinking with that little giraffe, can't you? I'm taking them, I'm putting them back. So I put the pearls in the holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 balloons, odd numbers. That's a good thing, right? And yeah, the only thing that's kind of puckered out right now is my voice. But I'm still with you as far as my thoughts. You know, my creativity, it's still there. I'm still with you on this one. Yeah, zoom. Look at that. Isn't that sweet? Now, when I put these pearls in, I put the glaze. I took each one back out, and then I reapplied them, putting the glaze on. And then after they were seated down in, I added more glaze over top, and that gives you double stability, and these are not going anywhere. And then it adds that opal look. Remember we talked about that, about applying the glaze, how it, oh, where is it? Okay, yeah, we're getting a little silly here. When you add the glaze, it looks like opals. And I also thought that the fern element on the bottom corner there on the left, well, actually it's on the bottom, it rises up on the left, added to the basket. So it's kind of like that weave look. That was what was going on in my mind anyway. And I just really, it's a different card, I know, but I really do love the way it came together. You know, I had to work with the ideas that I had, and you know, I like it when you just are creating your card as you go. And that's the way it should be, right? That's what creativity is. It really is good to, you know, find another tutorial that has all the measurements. It certainly does make it much easier for us. But when you have to figure it out sometimes by yourself, it really does make for a completed, created process. I don't know if that made any sense, but... it did to me right about now. So now I want to put another piece on the far side. So all of the back will be covered nicely, distressed, clean, and ready to add elements to it, of course. Like, you can't leave a card with just plain cream cardstock on it, can you? I ask you. The next thing I want to do here is add the Nouveau clear, crystal clear on top of this, because I don't want any of these stickers to release themselves at all. So I just, this gives it a nice shine, plus it does the second advantage to the card. It sticks it secure. Now we have to work on the word friends. I cut it out 3 times. I'm going to stack it up, and we're going to apply that as if our little animal friends were our friends. And so I wanted to have this somehow in our sentiment. And because I have the large Merry Christmas, this font will bring it down and kind of in some way even it out. Be more pleasing to the eye, so to speak. I like the Nouveau glue for this element of gluing them together. It does have a nice end on it, and then the pokey tool, you can take excess glue off. I had this little birdie, so I put some glossy accents on this. It was thicker, and as you can tell, I had it resting and drying. And before I put the glossy accents, I did put that little eye on there with the enamel accents, so it stood out. And I'm going to put 2 little twigs underneath the bird. That's another element of flying. You know, the butterfly, the bird, the balloon, the hot air balloon, and all of the fabulous elements that are going together on this one card. And I know you're thinking, whoa. Yes, but you know what? You can make 4 cards out of this. I'm doing a close-up here just to show you that the head boggles. Remember, the video is so long you can't remember the elements. I'm going to run them by you. Just in case you forgot, right? Now I'm just heat setting a little bit of this because I added a little bit more shine. So once I got that done, I'm going to show you the finished look right here. Yes, when I did the edit, I did it a little backwards, but I am going to back up and show you how I did it. So I have enjoy, then you flip up. This is not going to be a card where you're flipping it up and it says Christmas underneath. And I like that. It's just a quick peek. And then I put friends, enjoy, Christmas, and all the elements pop up. You have another shaker surprise. Oh yeah, it never ends. And it stands up all on its own. So let me show you how I created that. Right now I have to add a longer piece on the back of the elements that flip up. So I'm going to add it right to the bottom. Then we're going to add a shaker card. Oh yeah. And then we're going to add a balloon. So this is how it has to look. I have to complete it. So I have to fold it over on the 2-inch side right there. Then add it all the way to the end so that the front equals the back when it's folded in half. So each side is even in inches. I hope that makes sense. So really I'm getting ready to get this going. Yeah, it's moving my chair in. So here you're going to set it as close as you can. Get your Scotch tape. You're not going to be able to see this because I'm going to, of course, cover it. So you're going to add the Scotch tape to the back and make sure it's nice and secure. You're not going to see it, but you don't want it to fall off because this is going to hold up another shaker and another umbrella. So there you have it. We're going to push it up. Look at that. And it's perfect. When you bring it down, it's just right. So this way, in total, it's 8 inches in length. So we doubled it. It's 16 inches high. Fold it in half so we have 8 inches on the top, 8 inches on the bottom. So now we're going to cut another piece to cover it, because you don't want to see where we had to splice it. Once we get this piece cut out, distressed, we're going to put double-sided tape all over the back, and then we will cover the 8 inches completely so you don't see the taped side. I mean, this is creativity, isn't it? At its peak, yes. This is the fun of creating a card. It's actually the creativity in making it that is so much fun. The person watching it, yes, sometimes it can be a little intense, but it's nice that we can back it up and fast forward and stop it where we need to and all that sort of thing. And I really don't want to apologize for the time again that it took, because I really want to make sure that all the elements, the inspiration, the ideas, and everything is left in the video. I don't want to always be fearing the time portion, you know, that I'm taking up too much of your time. So, you know, I apologize for that ahead of time. I know it's a long tutorial, but I really do pray that it will be a blessing to you and you will get some inspiration from it. And all you have to do is leave me a comment and say hello. And if there's something that was in this tutorial that you found inspirational for your card making, I would love to know all about it. And I like meeting you, and especially my subscribers that are new. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. It means the world to me. I try to answer every single comment that you leave, and if I don't right away, I will get to it. And so here we go. Look at that. We're going to place it down with double-sided tape on the back side now, the flip side. And when you pull up, look at there. It's awesome. Yes, it's different, but it's awesome. Yeah, I don't know. I played with it forever, just thinking, you know, I watched so many tutorials on it, and the cards kept flipping underneath, but I didn't want that. I wanted them to flip up so that at any given moment I could look at it again and again and again, and it wouldn't be flipping on the inside hiding. It would be out in the open. So anyway, we need to cover the other side now. Wow, I think this is worth its weight in gold. So to speak, there's enough cardstock in this project to not worry about the wind taking it away. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. Yes, I'm on now, right? Oh, yeah. Almost 10 o'clock, so 10 hours. That's not bad editing time for a voiceover. I already did the edit. That took longer than the voiceover, believe it or not. But this is all the voiceover that's today, folks. And I thank you for joining me again. I just love it. And it saddens me when I have to stop talking. And I know what you're thinking. It doesn't sadden me, Carol. But anywho, I'm showing you how I have, we don't have to put anything on the back where the tape is, because it's going to go on the piece of cardstock. Yes. I probably said I had to look at that. Don't you love? I love cards that have this interaction to it. I just think it's so cute. I'm holding it down and I'm looking at it. Oh yes. So let's distress. Distress away. Love that look. And it's all, I'm keeping it all in the nice cream color. I'm not adding to the sides of it or anything, because there's enough color on this card to, you know, keep your interest in whoever will receive it. Just leave me a comment and I will get back to you, and then you'll have an opportunity to possibly win this card. And we have 2 more cards left to go. I'm putting the double-sided tape on the back. So, excuse me. Excuse me. I'm actually starting to get the voices going. Every day I lose it for about an hour. I did pretty good though. Wouldn't you say? I've been talking for 10 hours. So it's holding out pretty good. So now we have that on the back. We're going to peel it off and place it down so that the person getting it is going to be able to, you know, have fun playing with it. Now, remember, we have one more element, and that's another shaker. I want the weight on the bottom of this. So I cut it off right here. I'm going to show you how much of the length that I cut off here in just a moment. I'm going to flip it up. See where we have the right there? Yeah. And we're going to, yeah, I'm taking that away. I don't know. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I don't know where. Okay, I was thinking right here. Okay, what if I just put the balloon there? But if I do that, I don't have the weight I want. I wish I would slide this card up for you to see. And then you're, come on, Carol, move the card up there. Yeah, and I wanted to use this extra scripture verse to cover the bottom. See how it was going to cover the bottom there so that it didn't look odd and I just had paper left. So I decided, shaker, we're going to have another shaker. Yeah, I love shaker cards, don't you? So zoom it in and we're going to put this down. So yeah, get tight in there, Carol. So I've got my acetate on there with double-sided tape. I'm cutting down my roll of, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh, itchy ear, do we? Yes, he's getting sick of listening to me too. His ears are itchy. Isn't that funny? So here's our little, oh, get him off there, Carol, clean. Oh, I'm testing it out on the acetate. I first pat it down to get rid of some of the glue, and then I'm going to add it. So I put the sticky on the back, I put the back onto the acetate, and then I cut it. Then you're going to turn it around to where the sticky is, and we're going to add our elements. But watch this. You're going to have to, let me seat that in there, okay? When you turn this around, I just want to show you something. When you turn this around, I wanted to have the sheep jumping the fence. You know, like you're sleeping and counting sheep. I thought that would be kind of cute. So you're going to have, this element is the inside portion of your shaker. That's what I'm trying to say. So you can see the double-sided tape facing up, and then you put your animals on the inside, and then I already added some powder, and now I'm going to use the shaker bits, and this is just a ton of it, isn't it? I actually put a little too much, but I didn't want to take it off because, you know, it's better to have too much than too little. And there you have it. I have 5 elements. I did not want to have 4, and uneven number, I wanted 5. An uneven number, I wanted the weight, so that was perfect to have this extra element. And then to end it off, we have another gorgeous umbrella. Look it, I love it. This way you get to grab the bottom umbrella, and that's what started the whole thing going, was the idea of having an umbrella with animals. And now we're going to attach, first of all, let me get it on the bottom there. I'm going to attach my umbrella so that you see the bumps on the inside at the bottom, so it looks like grass. And then you're going to see the umbrella bottom have to be able to pull on it, and then we have to put the backing on it so it's nice and clean, like the other card, right? So I'll turn that over. First I'm playing with it and I'm looking at it. I love the fact we have 2 shaker elements. Look at that. Isn't that sweet? Now I know it hangs off like underneath, but I'm okay with that. No, I don't want it like that, Carol. You have to put that down. Hello. It's more hysterical for me to watch it while I'm doing the edit as you. So leave it down. It is going to hang, but once you open it up, oh yeah, this is going to make everything. The taste de la resistance is the end. It is going, the weight is going to hold this card perfectly, and you're going to wonder, well, what does this do? I'm going to show you. First of all, we need more weight, so I'm going to put the glaze all over this. and then I'm going to wait for it to dry, and we have this gorgeous element with the umbrella. And I love the little lamb jumping over the fence and the giraffe there to help him. That's my whole thought process. And I just really pray that you enjoy it. So on the front, I put friends and the eye. You don't think I forgot that, right? I put the hearts that we had left over, 3 high on the heart elements. Yeah. Now I just want to flip through the card, and I want to thank you very much. Thank you for subscribing, always being there to encourage me. Look what I did on the back. I had one more frame, and I added a little wee die that I had that made an envelope, and it's kind of like the highlight that I like. We were able to put the little bunny in there. I put the bunny in there, and the heart that came with the envelope die, that little tiny envelope, so cute. 3 little hearts coming out. I'm going to show you in the pictures at the end. And it's all cream. Well, I guess I put a little bit of the gray in the rabbit. I'm flipping it through to give you a quick look. And remember, an umbrella on the top, umbrella on the bottom. This really cute shaker with the lamb going over the fence and actually landing on the giraffe. That's what it looks like. I love the Christ and Christmas standing alone. I like the back. I didn't put anything on the back portion. Aren't you proud of me? And it stabilizes itself when you open it up. And I do hope that you were inspired in some way by my card number 4 for the Christmas giveaway. Please leave me a comment. Thank you so much for subscribing. Means a lot. And I will see you on card number 5. Take care, everybody. Have a blessed week.